Someone was trying to scam me on eBay, and what it was a lot of charms, 14 karat gold charms. There were 6 charms in the lot, and, I remember specifically because what they said in the message that, to me, still need to sell, but this is the first one. Got this in a baggie. Got 2 baggies. I'm not sure if they all came in one baggie or if they were in separate baggies, but either way, each baggie was $2.99, and this sold for about to drink some water. Welcome everyone to the video. Welcome to the channel. It's going to be the Tuesday What Sold video. So we're going to look at some cool, unique items, typically 5 items, cool, unique, interesting items I sold. Sometimes more if I, think it's worthy of being featured in a video, or something, unusual. Like I did those pencil boxes last time, which, all of a sudden they just started selling like crazy, which is a bit, was a bit odd to me. And then we'll, we'll do our little segment like last video where I'll look at eBay. We'll look at some cool, unique items, things you should be on the lookout for, bolos. We'll be looking at keyboards today. So if you want to watch that, it'll be broken up into chapters. So I have my intro, then I'll have the eBay lookup or the deep dive, and then we'll do the what sold at the end. So it'll be broken up into chapters. So you definitely skip to whatever chapter you would like. Oh, check the links down below. I keep forgetting to always mention this. I do have affiliate links from Amazon down there. So if there's anything there you're interested in, stuff I use for, every day. There's coffee in there. There's lens wipes that I use for my glasses, but I also carry them around in my little fanny pack just in case, if I touch something weird at the bins, I have a little wipey there for my hands. And then poly bags, things like that, for shipping, things I've tested out. So they're down there in the affiliate links. And if you're interested on picking up any products that I use, that I recommend, you can check those out down below. It takes you to an Amazon, your Amazon store. What else? I just have some water today. Just got a little stomach ache, so nothing crazy today as far as drinks go. No nightcap tonight. But I have a little bit of I think I'm almost 99% sure, 99.999% sure that someone was trying to scam me on eBay. And what it was a lot of charms, 14 karat gold charms. There were 6 charms in the lot. And I remember specifically because what they said in the message to me. So they sent me a message and they also opened up a claim, item not received claim. And so in the message, they said they did not receive 4 of the 6 charms they sent them. And I was like, that seems a bit odd and a bit fishy to me, because I remember specifically because they were tiny. There was nothing crazy here. It was a $120 order. And so I remember specifically, I had them in a little baggie and I poured them out in my hand. I just counted them just to make sure they were all in there. Just double check before I ship them out. And I counted them all out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put them back in the baggie, then wrapped them up and sent them on their way. Put them in a padded poly bag, small padded poly bag, and sent them on their way. And then I get a message after they receive it. It was actually, I was going to say the same day, but it wasn't the same day. It was actually 3 days after it was delivered was when I actually got the message saying that I only got 2 of them. I said, that's a bit odd. I said this specifically. I said that, I remember counting them out and making sure they were all there. And they said, well, I'm missing 4 of them. Like, that is really weird. So I said, can you send me pictures of the ones that you have? And send me a picture of the packaging. Oh, no. I said initially, send me a picture of what you got. And was the packaging ripped open? Did anything happen in transit? And they sent me a picture of 2 charms. And I was like, okay, those 2 charms were definitely in there. And they said the other ones were not in there at all. And they said the packaging was not damaged. So then I proceeded to say, well, can you send me a picture of the packaging? And at that point, I was like, I'm nearly 100% sure. I mean, there's that slight 0.00001% chance that maybe somehow they didn't make it into the package. I remember specifically counting them out and then making sure they were wrapped up. There was no holes in the bag as far as I could tell, but there's always a chance at anything happening. So then my other thought process was maybe the package got ripped open or something, but they said no, package was not ripped open. Well, I told them, well, send me pictures of the packaging and all that. And so in my head, I'm already thinking, okay, maybe they're trying to on me somehow here. And then we're going back and forth with messages until I said, well, send me pictures of all the packaging, what you actually got, because then I'm going to open up a case with the USPS, they can investigate this. Because I'm pretty doggone sure, nearly 100% sure that everything was sent out to you. Then something must have happened with USPS when USPS had it. Send me all the pictures and open up an investigation with them and all that. Um, and you may get a call, something. Yeah, I started to go like, get all serious about it. You may get a call from the investigator, yada 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 yada, and then that was it. And it was like, well, then I didn't hear anything from them. I was like, oh, they were responding really quickly as I was asking for pictures and things. And immediately after all that, and then when I sent that, it was radio silence. I'm like, oh, interesting. So they sent me all the pictures, and then that was it. And I was like, okay, maybe this was some sort of they were trying to see if they can get me to do a partial refund. Well, then 2 days later, I ended up getting a item not received. I'm like, oh, now they're telling me item not received. And in the item not received, they sent a message saying, I'm missing 4 and I would still like to have them. Da, 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 and that was it. I'm like, well, because they did that, now it's in eBay's hands. So I can't, all I could do is say, respond to it by stating, the item was delivered. It was officially delivered by the USPS. So I just updated the tracking and that was it. And then eBay closed the case in my favor because they did get the package. They got the package. And like I said, I'm nearly 100% sure. I mean, anything could happen, maybe they somehow slipped out of the package. I don't know. And just 2 stayed in there en route. But I checked my shipping station and everything just to be sure. Maybe as I was pouring them back in, I saw them in the package and I went and checked my shipping station. There's nothing there. Nothing there that. So I'm pretty sure they were trying to get me to issue a partial refund, something to that effect. I don't know. So eBay's already closed the case and done. So all done. These are the things that we do have to face as resellers. These things do come up. Um, Sometimes they're not just clear, cut and dry issues, but you know, there was I did get scammed. Was it earlier this year or last year? I think it was last year, where I was going on vacation and a package was coming back in, and it was actually electronic. It was electronic basketball hoop, and it was coming back to me. I'm like, okay, they said it didn't work. It was brand new in the package, so I was like, okay, well, guess it didn't work. And I was on vacation, so it got delivered, and I was like, oh, well, there's no way for me to check the package. So I was like, all right, well, you know what? I'll just refund them. I have no choice because I was going to be gone. And by the time I got back, it would have, eBay would have had to step in, and you don't want eBay to step in. You want to take action. So I was like, all right, whatever. I'll just, refund the money. And then, when I get back, I'll see what's going on with the package. And when I got back, I got balloons. I checked the package and there were balloons in there. I'm like, oh, great. But yeah, these things happen from time to time. It's nothing that it's something to worry about, but it's not going to be the majority at all. You'll encounter maybe 1, 2, 3, depending on volume too, as well. Really depends on the volume. I just randomly may encounter this maybe at the most in a given year, maybe 3 times within a given year. And with these charms, it was probably the most or the highest dollar order that I perhaps may or may not have tried to get scammed on. Am I saying that right? How am I? No. So basically what I'm trying to say is it doesn't really happen on high dollar items. Essentially, just getting tongue twisted here, trying to come up with the right word or phrase. It doesn't really happen with high dollar. Even that electronic basketball hoop, I think it was $22. So it's not, and I didn't pay that much for it. So it's not something really that's going to break the bank. Typically, knock on wood. Typically, right? These charms, which obviously I didn't end up, they tried to scam, but didn't end up working. Knock on wood. Again, knock on wood. eBay sided with me. This was one of the highest dollar amounts in a long time. Typically, it's low dollar amount stuff. So not really something that should discourage you from pursuing, selling on eBay, selling on Poshmark, selling online. Really shouldn't discourage you from doing that. Look at retail. Stuff happens in retail all the time, especially physical retail stores. Happens all the time. They account for all this. So nothing really you can do about it. Unfortunately, you kind of just have to move on. Majority of the time, eBay will have your back. Like if I was able to, and I've done this before, if I was able to have seen the basketball hoop or the balloons that I actually got instead of the basketball hoop, I could have filed a claim with eBay and everything like that. And typically they will have your back. They will. I mean, if you have all the evidence with you and, you take appropriate pictures, you have a track record of, great, great, selling track record, then you're good. You're golden. They'll help you out. They'll stand by you with that. Sometimes they won't. Sometimes they won't. And sometimes they do a thing where, sometimes they will do where they'll let the buyer keep the money, but then they'll refund you. So they'll kind of keep everybody happy. And, whether you agree with it or not, the scammers seem to have gotten away with it, or they feel like they got away with it. I don't have a feeling on that either way. I block them no matter what. I block these people, and you can also report them. Not that necessarily. I used to think it doesn't do anything, and I don't think it really has an immediate impact. But if they get enough of those, they could eventually have their account banned. And I think the last one I heard about that it was banned for a little bit. It wasn't even banned for that long. And they got banned for abusing the return system, saying something, returning something, not using the appropriate, when they say item not as described, but then you get it back and it's exactly the same item, like, why did you say not as described? Because you wanted all your money back. You wanted, including your shipping. You knew if you had selected any other option, you would get your shipping back. And if someone gets enough of, if you report those people enough, and those people get enough reports, they will eventually get kind of temporary banned or something like that on eBay. So, there's a lot. There's a lot of stuff to do with this, online shopping, reselling, or e-commerce in general. All part of the business. It's all part of the business, and it's all stuff that we deal with. And like I said, it doesn't happen that often, and I there's a lot of sales. I have a lot of sales throughout the year, and the reality is, if it happens 2 or 3 times, it's not really that much. It's a drop in the bucket for me. Not that I want it happening. Not that, every single time it happens, like, but but then I have to take a step back and be like, you know what? Look at the bigger picture. Doesn't really happen that often. Doesn't happen as much as, like a retail store or anything like that. So knock on wood, always. Let's get to the next segment. I'm going to readjust my camera here, and we'll look at eBay here. Okay, we're up and running here. Let's go ahead. You can see the screen here. I got to get it up on my side as well too, so I know what I'm doing. Okay, so I have a few tabs open already of things I wanted to point out, and we'll get to those. But first, let's go ahead and jump in and let's do a little bit of a search here. We'll look at keyboards. We'll look at some, recent sales, and we'll go highest to lowest as well too. But we'll start out with keyboard. I've already been trying to doing some search in here, to do a little bit of research before I start the video. So we're gonna type in keyboard. We're gonna get a lot of results. We're gonna get a lot of results. As you can see, this is just listed right here. So we have 360,000 plus results. One thing I noticed as I was doing research is gonna be a lot of lots and everything like that. And so we're gonna cut those out, and we're gonna narrow down our search here. So before we get to this sold, let's kind of look and see what's listed right now. And of course, we're gonna always look at used just because that's typically what we find and what we're looking for. Obviously, if we get them for newer, they can go for a little bit more. We're going to look at everything wired and or wireless, compact and or ergonomic and or gaming. But we're going to narrow down our search down to USA. Here we go. Then, oh, that's it. Let's just look there for right now. Now, as you can see right off the bat, we're not getting a looks like we're getting all kinds of keyboards right now. So let's make sure that we're in the appropriate category. As you can see over here, let's make sure we have, we're not going to, really narrow it down to keyboard and keypads, or we'll just stick to the keyboard, mouse, and pointer category section. There we go there. All right. So we'll just do best match for right now. And as you can see, we have these IBM model. As a matter of fact, I think I have a tab open with this, so we'll do a little more of a deep dive there, as well as a tab with this too as well. This is a really cool keyboard right here. I have bought and sold this keyboard before. Kinesis, they do a lot of different types of keyboards. As a matter of fact, I'm going to pull this into, and we're going to look this up. Not this one here, but we will look up, it's not letting me select anything. I'll just select all that and I'll cut it out. We'll look at their keyboards as well too. But this is a really cool keyboard. I have found this before. I found this at the flea market, as a matter of fact. So really cool one. These cool, weird, unique, interesting, ergonomic. It's an ergonomic style keyboard. I was trying to type with it to test it out. I don't know how people use it. It was so weird because it's like two craters on each side. But sometimes the weirder the ergonomic keyboard, the better. And people love these things. As you see more of these, we'll do a little deep dive. Apple. Yeah, these are these the right ones? Yeah, I'm pretty sure these are the right ones that I sell pretty much all the time. They don't typically, let's just jump in here really quick and see if this is the same. Yeah. So this is a bit on the higher end. Typically I sell these closer to $20 each. This person might have free shipping. Let's just take a look back over here. Yes, they have free shipping. So shipping on this, it does get to over 1 pound for these. And so then you have to round up 2 pounds. So then you're automatically talking about $10 for shipping, for a shipping label. So this would cut this down to about $17 once the person buys the label for it, because they're offering free shipping on it. But with these keyboards, you could actually, they're slim enough and durable enough to go in a non-padded poly bag, because even the padded poly bag is a little bit too much weight. So what I do with these keyboards here is, not do that. What I do with these keyboards here is I wrap them in bubble wrap 4 times around. And so after I do that, then what I do is I put them in a non-padded poly bag to cut down on all that weight. And then it comes out to right about 1 pound, even with the light, because the light can sometimes be a bit tricky, especially if you put in a box. So they are a bit long. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it goes to about 16 inches. But once you plug in those dimensions, if you plug in 16 inches, the price might start to go up. However, what you want to do is change the height, because these are not very tall keyboards. They're very, very slim. And if you put them in 4 times around with bubble wrap and a non-padded poly bag, it's under 2 inches. It's like an inch, barely over an inch. And then once you do that, you're good. You're golden. You know, the dimensions don't really matter. And it's just a weight, and you get them right around 1 pound and ship them out that way. And they do, they ship well. They're yes, they can get damaged, but these keyboards are made from aluminum primarily, and then plastic, but they're very, very durable. And if you wrap them like that, and then you wrap them so that way, one of the tricks also too is, especially if it hits a corner, they can get damaged. So you want a little bit of bubble wrap hanging off the edge, and then what you do is you put, you kind of fold one part into one part like this, so it kind of overlaps a little bit to provide a little bit more protection around the edge of the actual keyboard on the each side of it. Um, so really, really cool. That's the way I do it, and yeah, sell them all the time. So they're really nice keyboards. Another type of Microsoft keyboard that does really well. These Microsoft ones do really, really well, and I have it in my tab, so we'll definitely look into that. Um, this is a really cool one. Is this the right one? Let me just double check this one. I think 149 is a bit high. I think this goes more for around $80 or so. Is this the wireless variant? No, it's not the one. I thought maybe this is the wireless variant. This is actually a USB variant, which I'm not 100% familiar with. And so I don't know if that's a good price or not, but let's just go and take a look. The Lenovo ThinkPad. People really like these keyboards. This is actually, it looks just like the Lenovo ThinkPad, the older laptops. So this is the actual, like, just would be like the bottom part of the laptop, the keyboard side of the laptop. Um, Yeah, people really like these. They like this little mouse, the little, that little red thing right there is actually a mouse cursor. Let's jump in this. Let's just take a look where do a little bit of research on this. Because I don't know really what the wired variant goes for. I have sold the wireless variant. But like I've said before, sometimes the wired ones are the ones you really want. Okay, so we have open body, we have pre-owned, pre-owned. This is just narrow it down to used. Uh, then do US and uh, is there no option for used? What the heck? Oh, right. Yeah, so we have 4 for each. So, um, yeah, okay, close to $100, up over $100, $2.99 for delivery. It's not going to cost $2.99 for delivery, so that's going to eat into your profit there for the shipping. This is probably more what it goes for right there for shipping. So probably looking at about $90 to $100 or so. That's free shipping. That'll probably after you ship it out after you pay for the label. That might be more closer to like 130 or so dollars right there. So yeah, up over $100 probably for this type of keyboard. So definitely something to keep your eye out for. Let's take a look and just to see what the new goes for. Yeah, not a crazy I've seen some where the used might be like $100, and then all of a sudden you go brand new, you're talking $300-400. So not crazy for the brand, although as you can kind of see, they're out of the box. This is more like an open box situation. Maybe it's new, but the fact that I'm seeing it out of the box. All right, pretty cool. So definitely a really cool keyboard and something. As you can see, look, this one looks completely sealed. So $299, definitely. Yeah, look at that, completely sealed with the original tape and everything. $300 for that keyboard. That's a really nice keyboard. I like that. Yeah, I like that keyboard too. I like those old Lenovo keyboards. That was pretty cool. Okay. So that's a really cool keyboard. Definitely one to look out for, the wired and or wireless variant of that keyboard. Do really well. Okay, let's go ahead and jump in here and let's do a solds. Are we still locked into the used? And we're locked in the US. All right, perfect. And we're going to sort by, well, let's just take a quick look here and see what has recently sold. You have a Logitech keyboard. Again, the ergonomic keyboards, they do incredibly well. Most of them, I should say, most of them. Look up the model number. They're all going to have model numbers. This is a wireless variant. You are going to need a dongle, so make sure the dongle's with it. Definitely use Google Image, and it'll kind of tell you what kind of dongle to be looking out for. But if you find like in the bins or somewhere, then the dongle might not necessarily be with it, but it might be somewhere in the vicinity of that product. And Google Image it, and it'll kind of tell you what the dongle is, what you should be on the lookout for. This is one I'm unfamiliar with, custom routing, but a lot of these custom mechanical keyboards geared towards primarily gamers or just keyboard people, keyboard aficionados. Those are going to let you there. Can do really, really well. One way to tell is the weight. With these keyboards. I found some of these custom keyboards before at Goodwill, at flea markets, at garage sales, and you'll really, really tell just by the weight of these keyboards. They'll have a really nice, just a nice. Yeah, I've talked about this with glass and other types of things. Just the quality of the keycaps, the quality of the actual case that it comes in. And majority of these are going to be wired. So just because it's wired doesn't mean it's not going to be great. They'll be getting to this, into this wireless world that everything should be wireless. I use a lot of wireless products, but some products I like to have it plugged into the computer. And sometimes they can be big money if it does have a wire. So just be aware of that. Razer, another brand that is, just a great brand to be able to look out for. There's a lot of product out there. There's a lot of Razer product out there. And what happens when there's a lot of product out there kind of drives the overall price down. So they don't go for as much as they used to anymore, but they still do really well. And if you can get them for a great price, pull the trigger on Razer. Razer does really well. And then we have more Apple, as you can see. But okay, let's go ahead and put this over to highest. And what we're going to do is, so as you can see, a lot of lots here. We're going to run into a lot of lots. So what we're going to do is we're going to X out the lots. And how do we do that in a search? If you're not familiar with this, you're going to use the minus sign, and we're going to do minus lots. So that way we will take out, we'll subtract the lot from the search. So it'll just come up with keyboard minus the lot. And then we'll also minus Apple too. We'll take Apple out of there just because, there's going to be a lot of Apple stuff. And just know that Apple does really well. And what do we have at the top? $2,000 for this IBM Model M. These IBM Model M keyboards do incredibly well. If you ever find them, pick them up. And, not all IBM keyboards are equal. I do sell a lot of IBM keyboards that are not, these higher end ones. A lot of them are around $20 or so for a keyboard, but they still sell. They still do incredibly well. Again, another custom mechanical keyboard, really, really cool. These are really cool keyboards. These, you can really get, they could cost a lot. When you're said and done after customizing your own keyboard, just from the keycaps to the switches to the case, the cords, you can get into the hundreds and hundreds of dollars being spent on a single keyboard. So just something to be aware of. Another very, very interesting ergonomic keyboard right here. Let's just jump right into it really quick and just look at it. Look at the original listing. As you can see, I think I saw this on a Linus Tech Tips channel. I think I saw this one in one of their videos, if I'm not mistaken. And they had a lot of trouble being able to type with something like that. Yeah, we'll do a little deep dive into that one as well too. That's a very specialty keyboard. This is a lot. This is 40 of these K350 ergonomic keyboards. And as you can see right here, look at American printing. Is that a keyboard? No, what is this? What is this? Oh, it's a Braille keyboard. There you go. So your specialty keyboards are definitely something to be on the lookout for. And I'll show you a specialty keyboard here as well that I'm kind of just zipping over here as I'm scrolling. But as you can see, keyboards are big money. I'm a huge keyboard guy myself. I should have brought my one of my favorite keyboards out. It's a full size keyboard, but it's really cool, and it has that classic just yeah mechanical key sound that you really don't see nowadays. This is a really cool keyboard right here. As you can see, look at this really cool split keyboard. Can we get a close-up view on that? Guess we're not gonna be able to get a close-up view on that one. But it looks small and compact. I can't really I always like to put some sort of a ruler in place, or sometimes I'll use a tape measure. I'll pull off a tape measure just so I can get some perspective on it and see what the actual, you know, size is, or at least put a hand in there to show me. But that's really cool. I kind of like the look of that keyboard. Although with ergonomic keyboards, I get tired of them really quickly. I have a couple of them and I use them for a little bit and I just kind of like, it's okay, but then I kick them to the side and go back to some of my standard, like my little keyboard right here that I use pretty much all the time. And I always end up going back to it. So as you can see, big money. Look, IBM. IBM is kind of IBM. And what was it? Oh, I'll show you the other brand in a little bit. The one I keep glazing over. But as you can see, people are still looking for these old. This is an old keyboard. Does it say like a date in here, like in the description or anything? Maybe no, nothing really there. Do they show me the type of connector that it uses? Is it just an old PS2 connector? They don't even show the connector here. I would like to know what the connector is. Model and, but yeah, keep your eye out for keyboards, even older keyboards. Don't pass it up just because it's not USB. As you can see, they do incredibly well. Don't pass it up because it's not wireless. They still do incredibly well. So, any type of specialty like branded with a game, those can do incredibly well. I sold one that I sold last year, at the end of last year. It was a what was the name of the game? I can't remember. Doggone it. It was a Razer keyboard, and it was a somewhat popular game that I can't think of off the top of my head. But look out for those gaming ones. They do incredibly well, especially if they have if they're associated with an actual game. But let's see here. Let's close this one here, close that one there, close that, and close that one. Are we down? We'll let you that. Okay. So here's a keyboard I sell all the time. Every time I find one, boom, sells immediately. I wish I had a steady source of these keyboards because they sell so quickly. And this is a bit on the higher end. As you can see, this has all the accessories. This part right here kind of raises the keyboard, the backside of the keyboard up here. So your keyboard will kind of sit more like, let's see if I can get this on the camera like this. I can't even see the camera. So let me just move this out of the way. So this is the bottom of the keyboard. It'll kind of make it sit up like this. So very comfortable position. So if it has those accessories, pretty cool. And this one has the mouse as well too. As you can see, that's what you could potentially expect with all the accessories here. This one here, if you have the original box with it, I have sold it with the original box, never brand new, but I did have one with the box and with the accessories. And yes, this is what you can expect for that if you have all that with it. But more realistic, pardon me, it's not $17.50. It's more than that. It's not $19. It's definitely more than that. It's right about here, right about this $32 plus shipping. So the $32 is, between 30 to 40 is what you can expect for this keyboard. And they sell very fast. And very fast, within about I've had them sold within a matter of a few hours. More realistic, it'll take about a week or so to sell. But just know that they do sell incredibly well. If you can find them brand new, this is open box, but if it's open box, I would expect the box to at least be with it. It's very, very clean, but again, and this one has the, the thing that raises it. If it's open box, I would expect to see the boxes. It's there. But hey, if they got $159.99 for that, great. That's amazing. So really, really great keyboards. They sell all the time. Definitely something to keep your eye out for. Close that one out. And then here's the IBM one. So, I was kind of rushing through those IBM ones and another one as well, too, which I'll show you right now. But these Model M ones are definitely keyboards to be on the lookout for. Let's just open it up a little bit here. As you can see, it's just an old school keyboard. And this one has that little red dot right here, as you can see. The little red dot. For some reason, people love the little red dot. So definitely something to keep your eye out for. Make sure to look at the back. The back of these keyboards, the back of a lot of electronics should have all the details necessary to be able to look it up. But this is actually a really nice clean keyboard. As you can see, has the two little mice, the left and right buttons right there. So really cool keyboard. There's another one from another company, and I forgot what the name of that company was, but it actually has a trackball with the two mouse buttons on it. So that does really well. So keep your eye out for these IBM Model M keyboards. They do incredibly well. There's another one right here. Look at this one. See, there's a little mouse again with two buttons. That one sold for $88. So don't think because they're old, just throw them out. Keep your eye out for them. And here's the big one here. Now this is not. Yes, I think it has all the standard keys for a keyboard. I don't know why it's not making it bigger. Usually you run your mouse over the picture and it should expand it. I'm not sure why it's not doing that here, but as you can see, all the regular keys, but this one here is more geared towards video. And as you can see, the Ross video expression was geared towards video. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is more geared towards live video, not really like video editing or anything like that. So if you're inside of a newsroom or something, and this gives you a lot of different options, multimedia keys, expansion. I don't know if they're customizable, but they might be customizable. And what I mean by customize is in the software, so that way you can, when you press the key, you can have it do something for you. So, but look at that, close to $1,000. I've seen these go for more around this range here, but as you can see, some people were getting 900. This see right here, see this line through it right there. That means they took an offer on this one here. So they take an offer on that, so it was less than 900. But this person right here appears to have just gotten 950. It's a lot of shipping. As a matter of fact, look at the delivery on this one. $135. That's crazy. $135. So they must have got their dimensions wrong or overestimated the weight or something on that. It's not going to cost $100 something dollars, and that's probably why an offer was shot over. They may have gotten close to $900 total after everything's said and done. Based on this delivery charge, it should not cost that. Even 43.66 is way too much for a keyboard. So generally I ship keyboards like this Microsoft one here. These ship in 2012 6 boxes, and generally I put 4 pounds on these keyboards, and they come in right about 3 pounds. So I do make a little bit on the shipping. On the high end, I was going over to Maine or something like that. It's probably going to be right around $15 to $16 to ship this out. Is what the buyer will pay. Then I'll knock it down to 3 pounds, and I'll bring it down a buck or two or so. So we'll make a little bit of money on the shipping. But I felt like I was talking pretty fast there. Let me know what you think of the deep dive, and if you have any questions or anything, definitely leave in the comments. But let me get set up for the what sold. Okay, now the what sold part of the video. So let's see here. Let me pull up my pictures of the prices that I took. The little screenshots. Okay, so these are really, really cool. Sunny Angel, Sonny. I do have several other figures like this that still need to sell, but this is the first one. Got this in a baggie. Got two baggies. I'm not sure if they all came in one baggie or if they were in separate baggies, but either way, each baggie was $2.99, and this sold for, about to drink some water, $25. This one alone, $5.83 what they paid in shipping, and small padded poly bags that this went into. But I didn't know it, but apparently these are incredibly collectible. So on the foot, I should have showed a picture of the foot, but on the foot is where it actually has all the details. And I guess these can be fake too. So definitely keep your eye out. Um, I really have no idea how you would tell if they're fake or not, but I just compared this one to other pictures, and it was legit to me. And the bunny rabbit ear one appears to be a bit of a premium. So definitely something to look out for. I also have a red panda one, so it has a little red panda hat. That one also too seems to go for about 30 or $40. Someone did ask me a question if I had the original body with it. Not sure what the original body looks like. My guess is maybe a complete rabbit suit. I don't know. But someone else came in and swooped in and bought it and shipped it out, $25. So really, really cool. And it's small. It's actually really, really small. It's probably about maybe about that big in total height. And it's lightweight, under 10 ounces. So really, really cool. Definitely something to keep your eye out for. The feet will have all the detail for you. Definitely, be aware that I guess they do counterfeit these things. So something to be aware of, and keep your eye out for, and make sure to compare it to other pictures online. Okay, Brighton Jewelry. Brighton Jewelry, it's not sterling silver, it's not gold, but it still does really well. So you don't want to pay too much for Brighton just because it's more considered costume jewelry, designer costume jewelry. This bracelet though, charm bracelet seems to be premium. I every time I list a charm bracelet, boom, usually sells pretty quickly. I had those silver ones not too long ago I showed here. Those are all gone already. Individual charms do really well. What did this Brighton one sell for? $54.44. $5.51 what they paid in shipping. Small padded poly bag, what this went into. And as you can see, it's a bunch of religious. It's a religious piece. Crosses, different kinds of crosses. Really, really cool, and sold very fast. So definitely something to keep your eye out for. Not necessarily Brighton, although it does pretty well. But just charm bracelets in general, especially if they're sterling silver. If they're gold, if they're gold, then you're good. But charm bracelets do incredibly well, and every time I find them, they sell, sell all the time. Uh-huh. Okay, this was a really cool phone. As you can see, neon phone. That's it. That's the name. Um, I think if I remember correctly, there was a little pamphlet on the inside, and I think it said sold at Radio Shack, but just a neon phone. And what I did, I looked up a neon phone, and these came up. Not necessarily this one, but different variations of this, where it just had the neon thing in it, and it did work. I had a separate adapter for the actual neon part, and very clean. Found this over at Savers. It sold for what did it sell for? $40. $8 what they paid in shipping. This was in a box. I had to reshape 14 by 10 by 6 box. And I just bent, the longer sides a little bit just to make it more, not the longer sides. I bent the shorter sides, the 10-inch sides. I bent them a little bit so that way I can get it to be more elongated to fit everything in there. And sure enough, I did. I wrapped the actual phone. I wrapped it in bubble wrap several times before I put it back in the box. It was used. It was used, so it was not brand new or anything like that. So otherwise, I just would have wrapped the outside with bubble wrap. But I wrapped up the phone, and then put it back in the box, and then put it in its own separate box there. And really, really cool. All this cool retro stuff does incredibly well. Phones and these old school analog phones, just not even neon ones, just regular old school ones that used to be attached to the wall, sell them all the time. The rotary ones sell all the time. Keep your eye out for them. They sell all the time. You want me to say it one more time? They're great. They sell. They sell, sell, sell. Now this is kind of like it sold so fast. I was like, "What? Seriously?" Um, this went in a regular padded poly bag. I did wrap it with bubble wrap, and I put it in a just standard poly bag. Windsor Castle. As you can see, it has a little crown. Inside the crown, there's a plastic gem in there. But what did it sell for? 15 major. $15 for a pencil. It was like had a velvety feel to it. And Windsor Castle pencil, unused, $15. The shocking thing, though, it sold within 6 hours of me listing it. I listed it in the afternoon, then later on that evening, I got I listed it for $20, and I got a $15 offer. I was like, boom, sure. I got it at the bin, so I didn't pay very much for it. And $15 I thought was pretty good for a pencil. It's a regular pencil. Other than it being, velvety, saying Windsor Castle, having this little crown, not even an eraser. $15 for a single pencil. Amazing. There's none listed. There were none listed, none sold. Mine is now listed and sold quickly. So again, I talk about that 6 cents, of knowing what you can sell. I would say reselling, but in reality, it's just, anything. In anything. You can sell anything. It's a skill you just develop. How many did I do? 1, 2, 3, 4. I do 5. Oh, I haven't done 5 yet. It just takes time. That's all I can say. It takes time to develop these skills, and I don't even know. Can I even call it a skill? It's just something that, you look at it, you're like, hey, I bet you I can sell that. I sold it. So it's wild. And I hope it helps too. I hope it helps me showing you everything and showing you these. I got a tickle in my throat. I'm just talking way too much. I ended up getting a tickle in my throat. I stopped it really quick with a cough. That's a sign that I need to end the video soon. Plus, it's still a little hot. The weather doesn't know. Is it summer? Is it fall? Is it summer? Is it fall? And hopefully once, another week or so, it should just be fall weather. Tired of this heat. What do we got here? We got this, okay, this is a wireless adapter, and you plug this internally into a computer. It has a PCI Express. That's what this little gold part here is. That's the part that plugs into your computer. There's actually a slot for this. There's actually a slot, you can plug this into any PCI Express. And I think that, if I'm not mistaken, this is the X1 slot on the actual motherboard, but there's it goes up to 16. You can plug this into the 16, and it'll still work perfectly fine. But you really you don't want to take up a 16X slot for this. I think it's a 1X. I think the X comes after the number, if I'm not mistaken. I have to look at it again. But either way, it's a Wi-Fi card. You plug into your computer. It was open box, so I opened it up. I showed all the pieces in there. All the anti-static bags were still sealed on the inside, which is why I listed open box. So really, really cool. Sold fast within a day. That's a cool. I have some cool sales already lined up for the next show. $29.98. So $30 and $7.06 what they paid in shipping. And I put this in a large padded poly bag. It was already in a box. It was a good sturdy box already. And so I did wrap it once with bubble wrap before I put it in there. I was trying to get it into a standard, and by standard, I think it's 9.75 inches by 11.75, but it just wasn't fitting. And I didn't want to rip up it was starting to like tear the sides or separate the padded poly bag. Like, you know what? Let me just get the full size and just throw it, or the big size and just throw it in there and just fold it over. I just threw it in there and shipped it out. But a really, really cool quick sale. This is by a company called Gigabyte. It didn't say Gigabyte right on the front, but I knew this little Aorus right there. That's Gigabyte. And on the back it says Gigabyte. So, but like I said, easy to look up. If it was used, I would hesitate to tell you to go out and buy it because you would probably want to test it out to get the most money for it. But if it's brand new, sealed steel or open box and everything's sealed on the inside, just look at the model number and you'll be able to see quick and easy what these things are going for, how many are listed, how many have been sold, and you can kind of get a sense of what the market looks like for these types of items. But really, really cool. That's it. Like I said, I'm talking too much, so I'm gonna go finish up this video and or editing the video and relax for a little bit. All right. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.
Hey, you've made it to the end. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this content, please like the video by hitting the thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel by hitting my little round icon down below. It really does help us out here. Also, you'll find a couple of selections. You'll see a playlist of videos to watch and my most recent video that I did upload.